All right, welcome back to another episode of SSD Mythbusters, where each episode we take a myth in the world of Social Security disability law and we either bust it or prove it to be true. We do that by asking our in-house expert on all things Social Security disability law, attorney Josh Worley.
Yes.
All right, so Josh, today's myth is we're calling bedridden or bust. So for someone to be approved for disability, Josh, talk to us a little bit about, do you absolutely have to be bedridden? I mean, what does that look like?
Yes. So this is a bust. This myth is a bust. You do not have to be bedridden to be able to qualify for Social Security disability. Of course, when people hear the term disability, they immediately kind of picture in their mind someone in a wheelchair or someone that is stuck in bed and can't do anything. Well, that's not the way that Social Security determines who's disabled. For Social Security disability purposes, the way that you are approved is if Social Security determines that you are not able to work any kind of full-time job due to your health. And really the way to think of it is more about practical day-to-day limitations. So, for example, if you have trouble standing or walking for very long because maybe you have diabetes and you have neuropathy in your feet, well, that affects how long you can be on your feet or how long you can walk. So that limits what you're able to do day to day. Maybe you have trouble going to the grocery store on your own or something like that. So think of it more in terms of practical day-to-day limitations. Another example of a disability that our clients have, or a limitation that our clients have, is a limitation on sitting. They cannot sit for extended periods of time because perhaps they have a back issue or a back injury that means they can't be sitting upright for very long. And maybe during the day they have to lay down in their bed or lay down on the couch for various points along throughout the day. And another example is if you have issues with your hands, you can't do things with your hands for very long because maybe you have arthritis, and that affects, your ability to get dressed with buttons in the morning, or you have trouble doing your hair because of these issues. Anything that disrupts your day and has an impact on what you're able to do day to day is potentially an issue that you can qualify for disability with. So anything like the main way to think about it is if you have limitations with your daily activities, daily living, and those things are interrupted, then that's the way to think about disability.
Okay, so it sounds like really the term disability, as it's considered under the law, is really seen through the lens of someone's ability to work.
Yes.
So does it have anything to do, what if someone was a school teacher for 40 years and maybe they can't do that? Does their prior career have anything to do with the disability assessment, or is it more if they could go work as a Walmart greeter, that's considered they can work? How does the court look at that?
It does matter what you have done in the past because the Social Security will take into condition or consideration your age, your education, your work experience. So all those things do matter, but that's kind of getting down into the weeds. It kind of there are some particular things, especially as someone gets older, that it's a little bit easier for someone that's older to get disability as opposed to someone that's younger, because Social Security has a tendency to say someone that is 40 versus someone that's 60 can adapt, can learn some new skills that they can, that can potentially help them find another career, another job that they can handle. So it does get kind of, your background and your work experience does matter. It kind of gets a little bit more into some of the weeds of the term the term disability. But really the main way to think of it is just, how is your day interrupted with your health? And do you have days that are where you have bad days? And if you wake up and you say, okay, I have 3 bad days out of the week where I can hardly do a thing because of some aspect of my health. Well, with a full-time job, if you think about a full-time job, you've got to be able to show up day in and day out. You've got to be able to be consistent as an employee. And when you show up, you've got to be able to focus and concentrate and be able to get things done throughout that 8-hour workday. So if you wake up and 3 days out of the week, you are really lousy, feeling lousy, and it's a bad day, well, you're going to miss too much work if you're trying to work a full-time job. If you're calling in too much, then that's not sustainable as a full-time employee. So a very common argument that we're making for our clients is that they don't have the ability to be a consistent employee day in and day out. And as far as just being able to show up for work. And then the other thing is throughout their day, they don't have the ability to be a consistent employee for 8 hours. And that doesn't mean when you're working, it doesn't mean that you're just full on 8 hours, no breaks or anything like that. But someone that is disabled commonly will need more breaks than is typically allowed by an employer. So your day's interrupted. You can't concentrate. You have bad days from time to time. So all of those things, I keep getting back to. You really just think of practical, day to day. What are your limitations? Do you have the ability to be consistent and focus and concentrate and do all those things that we've just discussed?
Okay. Well, gosh, that's great information. So I think our takeaway, first of all, is this one is busted. You don't have to be bedridden.
No.
But as Josh explained, there's a lot that goes into really determining whether someone is disabled, and that's seen through their ability to work, their ability to function on a day-to-day basis, ability to stand, sit. There are a lot of factors that go into this, but certainly you don't have to be bedridden necessarily to get approved. But again, lots that goes into even arguing just, is someone disabled? Are you disabled? We've talked about in past episodes the importance of having an advocate like an attorney. So all those are important for trying to get someone approved for disability. So we would encourage you, if this episode was helpful, follow us. We're going to be doing more episodes to try and get lots of good information out there. We are at the Injury and Disability Law Center. Josh handles cases all over the country, helping people with their disability claims. So if you need help, we're at idlawcenter.com. Look us up, reach out to us. We'd be happy to help. But for this episode, it is busted. We'll see you next time.